Welcome everybody to today's session, a new way to go live, Microsoft Teams webinars and customizing your online experience. Sorry we're running a few minutes late with these sessions. They're always sometimes a little technical difficulties, especially when we're trying to show presentation tools through another presentation tool. So bear with us. There's been some permissioning and things that we're doing to make sure that we can show you as much functionality as possible. Let's get started. So to start today, I wanted to go through 3 quick takes. So this is what I hope by the end of the session we've gone through and we kind of have a better high-level understanding. So number 1, Teams webinars. It provides the ability to create registration for event meetings. We did an event last spring on Teams live event, which we'll post and put in the follow-up email. And I'll be talking a little bit more about that later. But the big, not downfall, but just opportunity for some events is that it would be nice to have a registration, and Teams webinar takes care of that, which is awesome. So we're going to be going through that. The number 2, Teams webinar gives you more in the moment control of who can present and how you collaborate. You'll see here in a second, it kind of takes the best of Teams meetings and live event and kind of merges them together. So, and number 3 is it's an interactive presentation for up to 1,000 attendees. We'll kind of get into the limitations of Teams meetings and live event as we go through this, but those are the 3 quick takes that I hope that everybody takes from this session today. So before we start getting into content, we always like to just take 1 minute and talk about MyTech. We are a business and technology consultant organization that serves small to medium-sized businesses in the Minnesota and Colorado markets. Ultimately, we've developed a proven IT strategy that really takes into account your organization or your business goals. Ultimately, you have a lot of different challenges and opportunities through the day as a small to medium-sized business, and our goal is to remove the IT challenge from that so that you can focus on serving your customers and your clients better and being more adaptable to the other business challenges that just inevitably happen every day. Ultimately, we want you to feel like we've helped make IT easy. And when we combine all this together, we have found that our clients achieve 4 times more value and productivity from their IT investments. If this is something you're interested in and want to have a conversation, raise your hand or put something in the Q&A there, we can have a conversation. Speaking of Q&A, I didn't talk about that at the beginning. You'll notice there is a Q&A panel. Nate Austin, who is producing today, is behind the scenes, and he will be answering any questions you have throughout the session. So feel free to post questions there. And if it's something you want me to demonstrate or Nate wants me to show afterwards, he'll interject it at the end of the session so that we can, if I can demonstrate something, we can. So feel free to post questions there. Awesome. All right. Next one here. So Teams meeting, Teams webinar, Teams live event. Oh my, it's a lot of different presentation tools. So I want to start off with talking about what are the differences, because I know that was the first thing when I saw Teams webinar, it was like, okay, this is another presentation tool. What's the difference? And ultimately, I want to start thinking through why would you use one or the other? So let's start with Teams meeting. Teams meeting, most of us have probably interacted with this at some point or the other. It's an interactive meeting. Anybody can present, share their content, unmute, share their video, and these can host up to 300 attendees. This data, as far as how many attendees, keep in mind if you're watching this in the future, this always is changing. So this is the current sharing of Teams meetings right now. The next one I wanted to go through was a Teams live event. So what is a Teams live event? This is truly a presentation tool. This allows multiple presenters. However, you have to set those presenters ahead of time. There's no audio or no audience video or microphones. Basically, you're experiencing a Teams live event if you're watching live right now, and the fact that there isn't a chat, there's a QA panel. The benefit of the QA panel, and again, if you watch our session we did last spring, we go into this deeper, is that there's a moderator, so the questions come in, and Nate, who's moderating right now, can either choose to send those questions for everybody to see, answer offline or separately, so you really control the content that's being presented to the other attendees. This does have the broadest attendee spectrum, allowing up to 10,000 attendees. But again, this is really for, when you don't want a lot of audience participation. And then the one we're going to be going deeper into today is Teams webinar. So a webinar is, and it's switching here on my screen. I want to make sure it's switching on your screen. There it goes. All right. It's a controlled interaction. So it, like we talked about before, it allows registration and attendee reporting afterwards, which Teams does a little bit as well, but live event does not. It allows a dynamic chat. And what I mean by that is it's more similar to Teams meetings. And we'll kind of go through that in a minute as well. It allows the breakout room feature that you might know about in Teams, and it gives more advanced presenter features. And I'll kind of show those at the end as well. But this allows up to 1,000 attendees to be interactive, so more than the Teams meeting, but less than obviously live event. But it almost triggers it into a live event over that 1,000 attendee, because up to 10,000 can be an in-view only, which is more similar to the live event. So that's kind of the quick high level of what's the difference between these three tools. But that leads me to start thinking, well, when might we use one over the other? So with a Teams meeting, I start to think through, I would use team meetings for smaller organizational meetings. Think of department meetings, client meetings. Really when they're more ad hoc and you aren't doing a full presentation, or you're going to want multiple people to present and share their screens, and it's going to be more of like you would experience a meeting in person. A Teams live event is that large audience. Think if you're a bigger organization, all company meeting, it's more information serving than it is collaboration. I think of these also for if you're doing a recorded session that's for training or something that you might post later, because a lot of times with recorded sessions, you don't want your attendees to be able to unmute and interact. Sometimes you're trying to serve prescriptive content. So think about that, and you can control that attendee chat as well. We all love the GIFs and we all love the funny jokes and things like that, but there's sometimes a meeting you really want to just keep that chat or whatever is viewing to the topic. Consider a Teams live event for that. And then the Teams webinar is really presentation specific, but audience collaboration encouraged. I would see this being great for panel discussions, user groups, or feedback sessions where you may have a specific amount of information that you need to serve, but at the same time, you're going to be wanting that collaboration from your attendees as well. All right, so with that said, we are going to dive into the demonstration here. So I'm going to get out of my PowerPoint presentation and I am going to bring up Teams. All right, so the first thing that I want to go through is how to create Microsoft Webinar. Some of you may or may not know, this is a relatively new feature that Teams is rolling out, Microsoft 365 is rolling out. So you may see it or you may not see it, but in the more recent months, if you go up to the new meeting and click, you'll now see there's three options below that. One is the schedule meeting, that's your traditional Teams meeting. The other is the live events that we've talked about. And now there's a third option, webinar. So I'm going to go ahead and click on webinar. And it looks very similar to a Teams meeting. It's very similar in the structure. So let's go ahead and start creating this webinar. So this is a webinar about product A, let's say. What's nice about the webinars versus the live events is what we're going to be doing here, everything that we're listing in this screen is information for the presenter. So let's think through that for a minute. So how many of us have wanted to do a webinar or some sort of virtual session, and we have certain content and or timing that we want for the presenters? Let's say we're going to do this meeting from, the actual webinar is going to start at 2 o'clock, but I want all my presenters online by 1:30 because we know technology always works, right? So I want all my presenters on so that we can check audio, we can check video, we can check the sharing just to verify. Sometimes there's an update that needs to be done. So I want the presenters to come on at 1:30. Now in the past and in other webinar platforms, you would set the time. And then let's say we wanted to start at 2 o'clock, I would set the time at 2 o'clock and then I would send out a separate meeting invite to just the presenters to have them there early. This does a really good job at separating those two. So for this particular one, I am going to say I want to add Gerald as a presenter. let's see, I'm going to add this one, and then I'm going to add Jonathan as a presenter. So let's do JF, oops. Go back to Gerald here. And let's say I'm going to add Nate Austin as well. So I'm going to add their demo accounts here so they don't get notifications. And so with that, you see, well, you can't see here, but you can actually invite guest presenters as well. So there might be some back-end permissioning that's needed from your IT admin or your managed service provider. So if you're not allowed to or able to invite guest presenters, I would check in with them because sometimes it's a back-end permission that needs to get checked or unchecked. But I'm going to go ahead and invite those presenters. I'm setting the time from 1:30. So the actual session you're going to see is going to start at 2, but for the presenters, I want to block off a whole hour, and then I'm just going to type some details on here. So we are going to talk through the following details, and then I can even put some bullet points in there. Topic A, topic B. Even if I had, maybe I had some talking points or a Word document that I wanted them to go through, you can link those things here. And again, this is only going to be seen for the presenters. So I think that's a really cool feature that I know I'm excited about, that I can provide them content when I'm setting this up. So for now, we're just going to leave it like that. So the next thing, as you can see here, I just want to point out there's also optional presenters. Again, very similar to the Teams meeting setup. So you can have optional and required. Next, I'm going to go up to the response options. So again, if I am putting detail here that I only want the presenters to see and I only want to set those presenters, I'm going to want to go ahead and uncheck allow forwarding. I don't want Gerald or Nate to be able to forward this to another presenter because I'm controlling this. If you don't mind that, then please go ahead and leave that checked. And then I am going to request responses just like a meeting here. Awesome. All right. So the next thing I'm going to do is there's this little require registration. So this is new that you'll see. So there's 3 options. None. You don't require registration. Anybody can just join the meeting. You can require registration for people in your organization. So look at the domain and allow anybody with your domain to register for the event. Or the last one is for everyone. Again, so just a note that you might need a backend permission turned on to allow everyone. But I'm going to go ahead and say I want everyone to register. So we're going to do that. You'll see just like a Teams meeting as well, I have a scheduling assistant so I can see if Gerald and Nate are available on those days. So it's pretty easy to go ahead and set this up. Once you hit send, it's going to go ahead and send those presenters that calendar information and the link to the meeting. Before I do that, though, I want to actually, because I set up registration, I want to go ahead and customize that registration form. So you see there's a little pop-up here that says send them a link to the registration form, and you can customize it. So I'm going to go ahead and click View Registration Form. And that's going to pop up this meeting, or this little pop-up. I'm going to open it up so we can all see it. Sorry, my mouse is a little slower than I'm used to in here. All right, so this basically gives you a registration page or landing page. So what we talked about, last spring and in other sessions when we've done live or when we've done webinars or virtual sessions, or even when you register for this one, there are so many benefits to having people register. Number one, you not only get a list of the people that are coming, but you can also request additional information that might, there might be certain sessions where you want to know people's thoughts or tools that they're currently using, because maybe the session is going to be somewhat customized to what they're doing. So this is a way that you can actually add custom fields and request information, as well as I always find it's helpful to send reminder emails when events are coming up and things like that. So by getting this registration list, you're going to be able to follow up with those attendees. So let's just quickly set this registration form up so you can customize it by adding your own image. So I'm going to click upload image here and upload. I'm going to go ahead and go to my downloads here because I downloaded an image. We'll upload that. You can move it around. You can zoom it in. done. That sets the header. So again, like we were setting up before, that was for the presenters. This screen is for your attendees. So this is a webinar for attendees so that all this information is for them. So you can see now I get to set the time. I actually want to set the time for 2 o'clock. Scroll up to 2 here. And we're going to have it go to 2:30. It's automatically going to set it as a webinar, aka Microsoft Teams meeting. You can add a description here. So I'm going to say this is a description. And lastly, you can also add speaker information. So if you wanted to display, if I can spell my own name correctly, this is my bio. And then another speaker, let's say that you had a co-speaker or a panel. We could add that as well. Info. Awesome. And then we can customize that registration form. So you see here, it defaults to first name, last name, email, but you can also add additional fields here and kind of show you just some of them: address, state, job title, things like that. But you can also have custom questions. So this is great, and it's either an input or a choice. So this, again, is great if there's specific tools you want to know about people usage or things they're interested in, or maybe the size of their organization. Sometimes we will ask, you know, how much experience do they have with the tool? Things like that. Start thinking through maybe some of the information that'll help you form the content that you may want to get up front. So I'm going to leave it as just generic for now. Oops, I clicked on that one, I think. Awesome. So once we have that all set, I'm just going to go ahead and click save up here at the top. And then it gives you a registration link, and you'll have this back in the webinar invite as well. But this gives you that registration link that now you can post this on your website. You can, you know, if you're advertising on LinkedIn or some social channels, this is your, you know, registration link that you can do when you're posting there. And it will give everybody a page like this to land on. So I'm going to copy that for now and then X out of this and then come back over here, and I'm going to go ahead and send that invite. So you can see that actually comes up right on the calendar there. All right, so what's the experience for registration for this? So I'm going to go ahead and pop that registration link into a browser here and just show you what it looks like. So this is what it would show up to the attendees. Again, notice how my time is different than what's listed for the presenters. And let's go ahead and register for this. So I'm going to go. It's not letting me register. Oh, maybe because let's view it in browser. Let's try that. Let's go. It doesn't want me to register. Let's see. I must have set a setting incorrectly. Let's go back in. Thought I said that everybody had to register. I did, but of course it's a demo, so it doesn't always cooperate that way. Let's try in a different browser. Let's see if it will work in this one. There it works. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and register for this. I'm going to use my demo account email. b365.com. All right, so we're going to go ahead and register. Awesome. And then you will see it's going to send me an email. So I'm going to try and pull up my email here to see if I can show you what that looks like. This is not that one. Let's try over here. Let's go to our Outlook. Awesome. So it shows you're registered for this event. Click on this one. And now you can see that it sent me an email. Here's the nice part. Part of why in the past I've recommended Eventbrite or things like that to do these type of registrations is because it's actually kind of one of the more painful things is when you send a confirmation email to somebody, how many of us automatically go to our calendar and add that event to our calendar with the link and everything like that? I know I don't. If it's not easy, I don't do it. So what's nice is that Teams takes care of, they send the registration email to them. It has a link to join the event, and then they add a calendar attachment so that you can just open this up and add it to your calendar. It also gives you the link to go ahead and cancel your registration. So it does all of that for you without a third party. So that's one of the big benefits of the new webinar feature. All right, so now that we have that, let's take a peek at what a webinar looks like from the presenter view. So I'm going to come down here. I'm going to go back over to my calendar. Oh, I should go in and show that real quick. You can see here now there's a link here to download the registration. So as people register, you can go ahead and download and again see who's registered. And that's going to be any of the presenters that are on that are going to see that. So, all right, I'm going to go ahead and join this event. Let's see, I'm going to use my computer audio, which hopefully doesn't give me some weird feedback here. All right, so I am in the Teams webinar now. If many of you will notice, it looks very similar to a Teams meeting, right? One of the things, I'm going to go ahead and just take one moment here to invite Nate to this because I want to be able to show all the features, and they're only enabled when there's somebody in the meeting with you. So let's see, Nate Austin. All right, so we're going to go ahead and request him to join just so that he can pop in so that I can show you all the features. One of the things that, let's go ahead and minimize that real quick, that I want to show you. It's a couple different ways you can do this. So the big thing I talked about was being able to control the collaboration through a webinar. So when you're setting it up, after you set it up, or I'm going to show you in a minute, once you're in the webinar, either there are meeting options. So I'm going to click on meeting options. It's going to pop it open in a web browser. Oh, we're going to go here. Let's know what account I'm using. All right, so I'm going to show you the different meeting options. This is what's really different than a Teams meeting. I can set, who do I want to, so when a guest joins or someone outside of your organization, you might have experienced that they get put into the lobby. It does a little ding, lets you know that someone's there and you can let them in. People that you can set who bypasses that lobby. Is it people you invite only you, people in your organization, everyone? So you can go ahead and customize that. You can let callers bypass. Do you want the little Teams person announcing when people are exiting or leaving? Who can present? Only specific people? Do you want everyone in your organization and guests? Everyone? Only me? So this really kind of locks down who can present. But here's the big one. Even in, we've done user groups where we use Teams meetings, and even though when we admit everybody, we're automatically going and trying to mute everybody, it never fails. Somebody gets unmuted or something like that when you're trying to present. So this Teams webinar allows you to mute the mic for all attendees and either allow or mute, or allow the camera for all attendees. You can do this ahead of setting it up like this, or you can do it ad hoc in the moment as well, which I'm going to show you in a moment. You can set it to record automatically when you start, allow the meeting chat. This is a good one for if you want people to be able to chat and then you want them to have that chat afterwards to be able to reach out and ask questions, you can enable that. Or maybe once the session's over, you want to close that chat down just because you don't want to miss messages or for any other reason, you can do that here as well. And then also the reactions. And again, these are very different than the live event because none of these features, you don't have the chat, you don't have the mic, you don't have the camera. So we're able to customize this. And this is where I say it kind of bridges that gap between a live event and Teams meeting because you can lock it down as much as you want or not. So, all right, let's go back into, lost my mouse here for a second, sorry. Let's go back into that webinar. So we're going to open this up. And I'm just going to show you really quickly how you can do the muting of the mic and the camera in here. So up here above the participants, here's where you can allow a mic for all attendees, allow the camera. You can lock the meeting as well, which means if you don't want any further attendees to join, you can lock it. That way it minimizes disruption if you're in the middle of the session. And you can also do it on an attendee level. So you hear if I hover over the ellipsis, I can just allow mic or camera for specific attendees. I can also, in the meeting, make one of them a presenter. So let's say, oh, I forgot to add, Joe to the meeting as a presenter. You can do that right here. So again, it's not as restrictive as the live event, but more restrictive than the Teams meeting. So awesome. Okay, so another really great feature is the chat. So this is how it's done differently than a live event. The live event you'll see is just the Q&A. It's a moderated Q&A. Here it's much similar to Teams in the fact that you can type a message, you can use the GIFs, you can use reactions. You'll see everybody has the reactions up here of raising your hand, the clapping, the thumbs up. All of those things are more interactive. In addition, with the live event, it's pretty much just a text box, where in Teams meetings and webinars, you have the option of also hyperlinking text, bolding, highlighting, so you can format it a lot different. And in addition, you can also do polls. So if you go into the extended messaging, there's the forms here, and the way that Microsoft Forms integrates with Teams webinar is it does it as a poll. So I'm going to go here and say this is a poll. So this is great. Again, in the moment, if you're trying to get feedback or data or put things into context for the attendees that you have. I like option 1, and then we'll say this one's, I like option 2. And you might ask people, you can go ahead and keep the responses anonymous, or you can share them, which I'm going to show you here in a moment. So I'm going to click save. And what that's going to do is that's going to pop up the poll when I hit send on just like this. You're going to see it's going to pop up if you're on a desktop or computer and or mobile. So Nate joined via mobile. He can go ahead and vote. Once the user votes, you'll see Nate voted for option 1. Or no, I thought I saw that pop up. Just kidding, he hasn't voted yet. I'm going to go ahead. There, he voted for option 1. I see it here. So 1 vote there. I'm going to vote for option 2. Once everybody's submitted, it's going to show a response like this, and then it keeps it over in the chat here too. So just another great feature that is more interactive than the Teams live events. Another thing that Teams live event doesn't feature, but Teams meetings does, that webinar is kind of brought in, is the breakout rooms. We're not going to go into this too deep, but for those of you who use breakout rooms, or if you're interested in us doing a session on breakout rooms, let us know. This is a great feature for smaller group collaboration during the session, so you can use that in there. In addition to, one of the great features that they kind of rolled out with this, I believe, is something called PowerPoint Live. So I'm going to show quickly how that is done. So when you share content in a webinar, you're probably used to seeing share your screen, share a window. But one of the new things they've done is they've added PowerPoint Live. So what is this? You can either browse your computer or OneDrive to find a PowerPoint, and what it does is it brings that PowerPoint right into the Teams webinar here. So I'm going to show you in a moment what that looks like. So as a presenter, it's really helpful in the fact that it keeps your audience here, your notes, and your slides all in the same screen. So you're not having to go look at a million different screens. In addition, you can allow your attendees to move ahead or behind in the slides, or you can go ahead and lock that down as well. I also like that it has presentation tools here, as far as it has a laser pointer, or a pen. If you were really going to emphasize something, you could do that and circle or underline what you were trying to emphasize. Just one quick note on that. That feature works for users who are using a desktop application, but it does not show up if they're using a browser. I'm sure this is coming in development. Most things tend to roll out in the application first and then go to the browser. So we'll keep you up to date or do a session in the future once these things are more available in the browser, but I just wanted to give you that update so that you would know if you're doing a session and there's people in the browser, they may not be able to see that cursor or things like that. So awesome. All right, so one more thing before we head back to the PowerPoint, a couple with a couple last notes here is I wanted to show what the post event looks like. So I'm going to go ahead and leave the webinar. All right, and then I'm going to go back to my Teams here and go back to my calendar. Suppose I could have just opened it like that. Okay, so like I said before, so post event, you'll have a registration here. If you recorded it or you set it automatically to record, you would see the recording download here, and or it would have a link from Stream. But then the other thing it has is if you go up here, you'll see this attendance tab. If you go ahead and click the attendance tab, it might take a minute here to load this up. And obviously there wasn't a lot of information in this particular one, but it's going to go ahead and give you, and again, it doesn't have any mobile information because, like I said, some things don't quite work on mobile yet, but it does give you browser and desktop application attendance, who registered. So it's comparing who registered to who attended, the time. It will give you more insights onto, you know, how engaged they were, how many minutes were they engaged, things like that. So there's reporting afterwards that you can download. And again, post-event follow-up is some of the most important. So having all this data where it's comparing that attended to registered, you can export that and put that into your CRM. I believe they just even released a connector for Dynamics 365 for any users who have that. But like, for instance, we use HubSpot, so we could go ahead and download this into HubSpot and send up any follow-up emails or content that users might be used to. So this is really beneficial as well as the video. So, all right, last thing, I'm unable to show you in the demo because I'm going to pull this up here, because while I'm doing a live event, showing a webinar at the same time is a little bit of a challenge. So I wanted to at least show this. So when you share content on a desktop application, so here's another distinguish, when sharing content from as a presenter on the application, you'll see when you click share, it gives you options for presenter modes. What are presenter modes? So you'll see here we have 3 of them: standout presenter, side by side, and reporter. So what this does is it actually takes your video, as you'll see here, and cuts out your video and puts it in front of the presentation. Side by side obviously does the side by side with your video and the presentation, and then there's reporter mode, which again puts your picture with the presentation kind of off to the side. This really gives a polished, clean look, and I know they're continually evolving and adapting and bringing this to market. So right now, presenters are only able to do this through the desktop application, and it only views to attendees that are using the application. It does not show in the browser. I'm going to click to the next slide because I think I have some of that on there. So it doesn't show to attendees that are in a browser or on mobile yet. So this is kind of what it would look like. You would do the share screen there. It shows you the different presenter modes that you can have. You can customize the background. So if you're doing the side by side, you can customize that background behind you and then share content like that as well. So awesome. So here are some tips for setting up your webinar to kind of round it out here. And I apologize, I went a few minutes over. So setting up, think through what are the key objectives of the meeting or presentation. So whether you're setting up a Teams meeting, a live event, or a webinar in particular, you'll see there's a lot more options for, do you want people to bypass the lobby? Do you want everybody's mics muted right away? You know, who do you want to be presenters? How do you want to present the content? Do you want to use the PowerPoint Live? Do you want to use some of the presenter modes? So think through when you're setting this up, what are the objectives of the meeting or presentation, and how do you want that interaction to be? That will help you in setting some of those settings. Secondarily, registration. I highly recommend enabling registration when possible. Again, there's so many benefits to it, not only for the reminders and things like that, but also at MyTech, when people register for our sessions, we send them the recording afterwards, even if they're not able to attend. So maybe that's something you want to do. And if you don't capture those registrations, you won't know who was interested in the topic besides who attended. And lastly, play. You don't have to enable all the features at once. Try one of them at a time. I know sometimes presentations can kind of get feature overload. So really just play with different ones and see which ones give you as a presenter and your attendees the best experience, and you can kind of go from there. So Just kind of some last things here. What's next? Please like or follow us on our LinkedIn or subscribe to our YouTube channel. We post all of the videos, all of these sessions recordings on YouTube. So follow us there to get notified when there's new content. Share these events with those who can benefit. These are for everybody, and we want to just make as much impact as we can with everybody out there. So share these. Join us for future events. Go to mytech.com/events. Also, I'll add let us know what type of events you might want to see. That in addition, like I mentioned, the breakout rooms, or if there's something you want us to go deeper into this, or another collaboration tool within the Microsoft 365 suite or not, let us know. And lastly, join our power user groups. These sessions, we have another one in October, are for users in your organization that drive adoption and the use of the tools. These go a little bit deeper than these virtual sessions, so be sure to check those out as well and join us for those. So sorry, I went a little bit over, but I'm going to go ahead and say thank you, everybody, for attending. Anybody who needs to drop off now, feel free to drop off. We'll be sending a post follow-up email with the recording as well as any additional content. But any of those of you that have questions, feel free to post those now on the Q&A, and we'll open it up for questions. Nate?
Thanks, Stephanie. One of the questions that came up is about, it seems that the live event and the webinar, there's a lot of overlap. So do we have any insight as to, is Microsoft moving in one direction or another? Do you have any insight on that?
Good question. So there is some overlap, but I actually see more overlap with Teams meetings and Teams webinar than the live event. So I'm trying to think of something I can show here to kind of show through this. Right now, for instance, if I go to my calendar, so a couple things I didn't mention is like registration. That's a big one. Live event that doesn't look to have any future development on doing a registration. However, I'm noticing, and I was reading some of the development, that even in a Teams meeting, they are now adding the option to require or to add registration to just a Teams meeting. Like I was showing you in the demonstration, a lot of the features, I'll actually go back in here to the webinar, I'll open it back up, join it, it looks and feels a lot like a Teams meeting. It has the breakout rooms, the reactions, the ability to share multi-people share content, where live event really locks that down. So when you join a live event, you either have to, before the live event even starts, you have to set whether someone's a presenter or not. Once that live event starts, that's it. The people that are in there as presenters are the only ones that are allowed to share their camera, microphone, and their screen. And it locks it down pretty good, as well as like live event you can only do through the desktop app as well. Where webinar, you can do a webinar through a browser. It's a little bit more limited functionality. So I would say at a high level, I think Teams webinar is more like a Teams meeting experience than it is a live event. And kind of the future is the Teams meeting, Teams webinar is creating that collaboration. I'd say the biggest difference between Teams meeting and Teams webinar right now is in a Teams meeting, you can't globally block mic usage or video usage or presenters. Everybody can unmute, mute, share their screen, share their camera, where webinar kind of bridges that gap. It doesn't globally not allow it like Teams live events, but it does give you the ability as a presenter organizer to restrict even mid-meeting if you want that to happen. So hopefully that's helpful.
Yeah, that's good. I think that answered the question. So, and that's the last question we had.
Awesome, awesome. I was going to see if there was anything I might have missed showing in case there was any last questions there. Presenter modes. Yeah, I think I talked through the presenter modes. That, you know, I'm really hoping that even for my sake, these presenter modes continue to develop, because I know, you know, even in the live event, like what you're seeing right now, where the content is on one side and the video is on the other, it does make the content small sometimes. So being able to kind of verbally talk through something with the content bigger behind you, I think will be awesome. I just, right now, I'd say the only kind of restriction is that, you know, if you are, you know, if I was presenting to everybody in my organization that I know has the desktop application of Microsoft 365 of Teams, I would feel comfortable doing that. But to a larger audience with people outside the organization that I'm not sure have that licensing, that might be using the browser or a free version, they wouldn't get that same experience. So I would just stay tuned for that on whether that's something that I know they're going to continue to develop, and we're going to see that be available across all platforms. So with that said, was there any other questions, Nate?
Nope, that was it.
Awesome. Well, thanks everybody for your time today, and we'll talk to you or see you soon.